1, 2, 3, okay. Okay, 2 is okay. Let me wear my headset quickly. Oh my God, and we are late already. Sorry, we are so late. Hmm? Sorry, my camera fell. Sorry, we have to set. Sorry. Hope we are not live anywhere. Patrick, are we live on YouTube? My camera fell, so I'm trying to sort this out. Oh my God. Is there a way you can stop it briefly? Okay, it's fine. No. Oh, I should have been using the other one. Okay. No, I think we are good now to go. Okay. So I just click stream. Hey, good evening. Good evening once again. Good evening, Zambia. I'm sorry I've started so late. Today I was trying something new, something that I should broadcast on TikTok, because there was a demand by many that we are missing on some platform. So we're trying out on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, you can check on Emmanuel Mwamba's account, and you can check if we are live. That's the reason for why we are late. But I apologize for the YouTube guys. I think we are all fine. I'm sorry you saw the fidgeting, you saw the camera setup and all. But I'm glad that you finally joined us. Today we are discussing the new cyber laws that were recently enacted in Parliament. The Ministry of Science and Technology and Ministry of Home Affairs announced that Parliament had passed these laws and that these laws were to be assented by President Hichilema, and they're expected to be gazetted. We have information that President Hichilema has gazetted these laws. We have credible information, very reliable information that the President has since assented. You must know that the Media Institute of Southern Africa, MISA Zambia, which is like a voice for the media organizations in Zambia, has strongly objected to these laws. These laws go up to 25 years in jail. Other civil society organizations, the Law Association of Zambia, and others have also called for caution that the president must not assent to these laws. But we need to look for this Gazette notice. We understand the president has since signed. What are these laws? The Cyber Crimes Bill of 2024 and Cyber Security Bill of number 29 of 2024. These are the two bills that the president has signed. But like I warned last time, there are other 4 or 5 other bills that have come attendant to this bill, but they all go to do the same thing: restrict speech and literally shut down democracy, literally shut down free media, free speech, free freedom of conscience like you know it. The non-governmental bill of 2025, which seeks to regulate all NGOs in Zambia. The closed circuit television public protection bill of 2025, which is also controlling the issues of secure television privately and publicly. The Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation Act, that is criminalizing some speech to the extent that you can go in life. You can go jailed for life. There is the Cyber Crimes Bill of 2024, we've discussed it, and yeah, so it is essentially the two laws on cyber crimes and the attendant bills, the non-governmental bill, the anti-terrorism bill, and the closed circuit television. You have to look at them in totality because of what they're providing for. They are literally outlawing free speech as we know it in our country. Let me play a few videos and then we'll come to this discussion. I will display that number which you can call on, and let me just play a few videos, then we'll come back to the issue, then I'll open the phone lines.
It is very sad that in our country, Nigeria, successive governments make us miss the previous ones. During the last administration, Nigerians thought we had seen the worst possible. Now we are beginning to feel that the worst, what we thought was the worst, was even very good. Every year, suffering and hardship increase. It is difficult now to know what else to tell Nigerians. Many people are being driven to crime and violence. As Christians, as God's children, we are invited through prayer and sacrifice to discipline ourselves. 1, don't give up. 2, don't, because things are hard, become a problem for others. No matter what you choose to do as your Lenten sacrifice this year, make sure at least that you will never deliberately cause another person more pain or hardship.
In the Second Vatican Council, when our fathers, they stated that the Catholic Church, Rome especially, presides in love or in charity, it meant that Rome is supposed to guide in love the whole world. And Rome is the center of the Catholicism and the Catholic Church. So I'm appealing to my bishops, especially tomorrow. It will be a Holy Thursday when we remember the institution of priesthood. I'm appealing to the bishops, especially the chairman of the Catholic bishops, the Catholic Bishop of Monze, the Catholic Bishop of Lusaka, the Catholic Bishop of Ndola Diocese, and all any other Catholic bishops. I'm appealing to you. Please speak out. Give sanity to the country. What is happening in the country, it's not healthy for our nation. The whole churches in Zambia now, they are just looking at you, the Catholic Church. If you keep quiet, it will be like Pontius Pilate, who kept quiet in front of God, of Jesus Christ's response that he was the Son of God. And just by speaking that he was the Son of God, he was sentenced to death. Bashikofu wa Zambia, the bishops in Zambia, please speak to the government. Tell the government the truth. Defend the faith, defend the truth. Ba Bishop Pili, ba Bishop Banda, ba Bishop Chama, defend the truth.
Now the only mouthpiece that Zambians have is the social media. You want to shut it down. Stop it, please. We have known for a long time that you are dictators, you are autocrats, but you have now crossed the line. Leave, do away with this cyber security bill. There are enough laws to deal with criminals. Just enforce those laws fairly. This cannot be used as an excuse. Leave citizens to talk to each other. Don't gut them. Leave it. Please leave it. We want to find a viable medium after 12th of August. Let me remind Zambians that whatever you are going through, very soon, shall up, take up. The power is in your hands to end this. But for now, protect yourselves, protect your neighbor from this tax. Non-tax, masquerading as leaders in the name of PF. Small number. Not everybody in PF is happy about what is happening. So public, protect each other, protect your neighbor.
In the Second Vatican Council, when our fathers, they stated that the Catholic Church, Rome especially, presides in love or in charity, it meant that Rome is supposed to guide in love the whole world. And Rome is the center of the Catholicism and the Catholic Church. So I'm appealing to my bishops, especially tomorrow. It will be a Holy Thursday when we remember the institution of priesthood. I'm appealing to the bishops, especially the chairman of the Catholic bishops, the Catholic Bishop of Monze, the Catholic Bishop of Lusaka, the Catholic Bishop of Ndola Diocese, and all any other Catholic bishops. I'm appealing to you. Please speak out. Give sanity to the country. What is happening in the country, it's not healthy for our nation. The whole churches in Zambia now, they are just looking at you, the Catholic Church. If you keep quiet, it will be like Pontius Pilate, who kept quiet in front of God, of Jesus Christ's response that he was the Son of God. And just by speaking that he was the Son of God, he was sentenced to death. Bashikofu wa Zambia, the bishops in Zambia, please speak to the government. Tell the government the truth. Defend the faith, defend the truth. Ba Bishop Pidi, ba Bishop Banda, ba Bishop Chama, defend the truth.
Just a minute, just a minute.
Now the only mouthpiece that Zambians have is the social media. You want to shut it down. Stop it, please. We have known for a long time that you are dictators, you are autocrats, but you have now crossed the line. Leave, do away with this cybersecurity bill. There are enough laws to deal with criminals. Just enforce those laws fairly. This cannot be used as an excuse. Leave citizens to talk to each other. Don't gut them. Leave it. Please leave it. We want to find a viable medium after 12th of August. Let me remind Zambians that whatever you are going through, very soon, shall up, take up. The power is in your hands to end this. But for now, protect yourselves, protect your neighbor from this tax. Non-tax, masquerading as leaders in the name of PF. Small number. Not everybody in PF is happy about what is happening. So public, protect each other, protect your neighbor.
Thank you very much. Let's get to the crack of it. It is clear that President Hakainde Hichilema is fostering a dictatorship, is fostering a tyranny with these new laws. And it doesn't matter what he promised, it doesn't matter what he pledged. He is establishing long stay for himself in government. He's establishing himself long stay beyond what the terms of our constitution provide for. By shutting down literally democracy, he doesn't want us to criticize, for example, his tribal appointments, his tribal hegemony. He doesn't want, he criminalizes all these as hate speech. Anytime anyone will question the number of relatives he has in office, the number of persons from the same region is appointing, it will be criminalized as hate speech. These are typical telltale signs of dictators. They come with good intentions, what appears to be good intentions. When they are voted for, then they are there to stay. They begin to establish themselves and lock everyone outside the process and open up the constitution to establish their long stay. The president doesn't want us to criticize him, criticize his government. He doesn't want us to expose corruption. He doesn't want us to do any of these issues because he wants to establish himself for a very, very long stay. There is a program that I like watching. It says, it's a playbook for one to take over power, absolutely. So how to make a tyranny, how, it's on Netflix, how tyrannies are formed. So how to become a tyrant, there is a spoken word by Peter Dinklage, who then does a narration. And President Hakainde Hichilema appears to be following the rule book of how to become a tyranny, literally how to become a dictator, like Adolf Hitler, like Idi Amin, like Joseph Stalin, like the Kim family in North Korea. He appears to be playing by the same rule book. Number one, he will begin to say freedom is not very important. What is important is development. What is important is unity in the nation. And that's a reason they are fostering these cyber laws. They are claiming that development is threatened. They are claiming that national unity is threatened. So they are putting it like the larger good of public good of unity or development is more important than your right to express yourself. You become an irritant. You become a problem to what they wish to achieve. All dictators, whether it's Stalin, whether it's Adolf Hitler, whether it is any dictator that you know from Latin America, from Africa, they start by saying the public good of society is far better than your personal rights. Look at these laws. So they enforce silence in the nation. So criticism, people are now afraid. They're looking over their shoulders. They don't know who's watching. They fear that their phone is tapped. They fear that someone is watching their messages. They'll even tell you, Bamwamba, isend ku signal. Bamwamba, isend ku WhatsApp. Bamwamba, mwituma message. They know that the big brother is watching every citizen, what they're doing. They're jailing all of us, throwing the key away. And they've literally stopped criticism. Censorship. These laws are so terrible. I'll go in details to discuss them. And President Hakainde Hichilema has gone to control the media, either by force or by coercion. Don't believe what they say that they haven't closed any media. Ask anyone from the media if they can broadcast freely. Ask any media if they can write the news they wish to write. There have been abductions. JJ, personally, I was also abducted. I didn't know where I was, where they were taking me. For 4 or 5 hours, no one knew where I was. It had to take the lawyers the following day to know where I was, that I was at Emmanuel Police. I was incognito, no phone, no nothing. I couldn't reach my family. And they had beaten me. They had knocked out my tooth, and I was in pain, my shoulder and my neck. No kuinena ponene kushoda for pickable. Maybe this recurrent pain is from that initial attack I received from the police. You heard what JJ stated. These are the telltale signs of every dictator. They come with good intentions, sometimes voted in like Hitler by a large majority. Then they begin to fashion and change society. You can see that President Hakainde Hichilema is playing by the rule book of dictators. They usurp power. Look at how he's controlling the judiciary, parliament, electoral reform, Electoral Commission of Zambia, Zambia Police, and other law enforcement agencies. He's got a stranglehold. He passed that statutory instrument 1072 to ensure that everyone reports to him, everyone reports to State House, and that is what is happening. He's crushing all rivals. I am outside the country. Other people are outside the country. Those that are in country, Fred Membe and others, are facing jail terms, very long jail terms, seditious and seditious practices can take you to 10 years to 25 years, is ensuring that is crushing all rivals. Those that haven't been arrested yet are also living in fear because they don't know what tomorrow will bring. And is reigning through terror because there's just a blanket of fear over our country. People are afraid to speak. People are afraid to express themselves. Then he will not allow us to organize, to protest, to demonstrate. He will not allow us to hold public rallies. The isolated rallies you've seen are token rallies to appease the international community that there's something we are doing. And dictators rule without the law. The law doesn't apply to them, but they ensure that everyone else follows the so-called law, yet they live outside the law. Is abrogating the constitution, is abrogating the law, is disregarding what is provided for everywhere, and is just ruling outside the law. And the use of extreme and cruel methods. See what is happening to GBM. GBM is entitled to bail pending appeal. GBM can afford his own medical treatment. He doesn't have to beg Hichilema for forgiveness or pardon. GBM can take himself to a clinic or a hospital or specialist treatment of his choice. He's not asking for favors. Yes, he's been jailed, yes, but he has a right to appeal under our constitution that is guaranteed. He has a right to appeal. He has a right to bail pending appeal, especially in this case, if you have seen the documents, where GBM's case is literally going to collapse at the next high court. Any hearing next time, this matter is going to collapse because, look, the conviction is dubious, very suspicious for one who declared interest. He didn't steal anywhere. They supplied the goods and he had declared interest. So if this matter goes to any high court, GBM will walk. So why deny him bail? Why? Cruel treatment of dictators. They want, in fact, if GBM died today, the next person who will be at his funeral house will be Hakainde Hichilema and his minister. The one who will speak at his burial, at his funeral, will be President Hakainde Hichilema. They love this of tormenting the enemy to their death. They even come and speak at your funeral, how good you were, how they want to change society, how this should not change itself. Who would think that Nawakwi, for 3 years, battled her medicine. Literally, it nearly bankrupted her. She needed to be in India every other 6 weeks. And many times they were stopped. How many times was Nawakwi arrested just for expressing herself? Who was first at the funeral? When they knew she had a few days remaining, they evacuated her to South Africa so that the dictator can look good, that he cares, that he loves his people. It's just people that are belligerent. It's just his political enemies that don't appreciate. He's a good leader. They even sent 2 ministers to bring the body. Who spoke at the funeral of Edith Nawakwi? It was President Hakainde Hichilema. They will even dance at your funeral. That's a hallmark of a dictator, is that he will destroy the opponent, destroy them, and appear to come and help you. You remember the story of the chicken. Inkoko, kutuwaivule nkoko, waisesa one by one, you remove the feathers. The chicken will be bleeding. But wasabula fya mataba you put on your hand. The bleeding chicken, you have caused so much pain. You've removed all its feathers. The bleeding chicken will come to eat from your palm. That's what dictators do. They can inflict so much pain that you begin to apologize for things you have not done. You begin to go begging to them, like that chicken, bloody chicken, that claims that that comes to eat from the palm of you who plucked out all its feathers live. That's what happens. The laws that have been passed have alarmed me if you read them one by one. And dictators have a sense of entitlement. He thinks he is good news to our country. He thinks that he's the best thing that has ever happened to that country. They have a psychological makeup where they think they are the best or they are the first or the country is is seriously lucky to have them as leaders while they inflict the pain, while they empty the treasury through looting, while they destroy lives of political opponents and critics. They love to be admired. They want praises. Look at how much praises are heaped on President Hakainde Hichilema. He loves that. If today I began to sing praises here, I would have you probably send me a ticket to Zambia. They love praises, these dictators. You know, it nourishes their soul where they want to feel appreciated because they have this grandiose feeling that they're important. You guys are very lucky to have them as your leaders. They have this mindset of emperors or kings that is God that has put them there, and therefore you ought to extend some form of worship to them the way you extend to your God. And they are obsessed and delusional. Have you heard President Hakainde Hichilema speak? How the economy is booming, how the economy is far better, how the country is far better than under the PF. They are delusional in their outlook. They don't see reality. Like that story of a naked emperor. He's naked and everyone around the emperor is praising the emperor. It took a child to say, Mr. Emperor, Your Royal Highness, you are naked. Tamufuele. The people around the president can fool him to the extent where he can walk naked and they are clapping him, like the story of the emperor. They live in obsessed delusion. How do we change this? I'll discuss this, but let's go to the laws that have been passed. You might think I've used very strong words against President Hakainde Hichilema, but that's exactly what is happening to our country. Look at the new laws. Non-governmental bill of 2025. This law will form the non-governmental Congress where all NGOs in our country will belong, and they will manipulate the leadership. They'll call it self-regulation, but in fact, they will regulate all NGOs in our country. This law is old. It was passed in 2009. President Hakainde Hichilema has amended it, and they've passed it as a new bill, non-governmental bill of 2025, where they're providing for centrality of all NGOs, registration, licensing of NGOs in our country. It marks literally the end of free NGOs, free reign, is free sourcing of funds. Even funds you will not be able to get from that embassy or that NGO or that chapter from abroad or that foundation. It has to be centralized. That will be the end of civil society. And that you must have seen the letter or statement from Winter Kabimba where he's bemoaning that unelected entities, meaning NGOs, the churches, and other voices are so powerful that they've usurped the powers of the state. He's even saying President Hakainde Hichilema is a lame duck because the powers have gone to these unelected people who can command tribal, religious, or public support away from the state. When you hear an educated person, lawyer, well-read man like Winter Kabimba criminalize civil society, criminalize the church, it gives you an indication of where we're going. Because if there's anyone who understands how state power, how democracy, and how tyranny works, it's Winter Kabimba. He's aiding the rule book of President Hakainde Hichilema. He's simply saying, declare a state of emergency. That's what Winter Kabimba is saying. You as president, your police, your army, you have no powers. The powers are with those bishops, the Catholic bishops. The powers are with those civil society groupings. The powers are with political parties, Socialist Party, PF, Tonse, UKA, who can command crowds against you and take over from you. Their plans are so advanced that they're about to run you over. So a guy like Winter Kabimba, very educated, good lawyer, who understands, was Secretary General of the Patriotic Front, he was Minister of Justice, to speak like that is frightening President Hakainde Hichilema to act with fear, to immediately invoke, those punitive terror laws that we have in our country, such as declaration of state of emergency. And you saw Koswe and Zambia Watchdog follow up with another write-up claiming that civil society is organizing youth groups, the church, to conduct public protests, public rallies against the president. No, civil society is only organizing against your constitution. They've always done that. They did that to Kaunda in 1990. They did that to Chiluba in 2001. They did that to Mwanawasa. They did that to Rupia Banda. They did that to Michael Sata. They did that to Bill 10. That's a role of the church. That's a role of civil society. That's a role of independent voices. There is nothing wrong they are doing. It's not criminal. They are not threatening the well-being of the state. They are not about to take over or usurp your powers or conduct a coup. No. But Winter Kabimba is driving the debate to the president, causing fear that the president must invoke those laws because he has lost power to these unelected officials. The people with power should be the elected himself, Hichilema, who was elected by 2.8 million people, not NGOs, CC, not the Zambia Council of the Zambia Conference of Catholic Bishops, not civil society, not Chapter 1 Foundation. He says, no, Mr. President, you're the one with powers. That is extremely dangerous. The Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation bill is an amendment as well. It's an odd law, but the way they've amended it, they've criminalized speech. Issues of speech have been brought under terrorism. So we are going to have local terrorists in our country. Local people who become terrorists by what they say. The bill, if you look at the Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation bill, the way they've imported words that you are threatening a government department, you are threatening the president, you are threatening a minister, you are threatening public institutions, that calls for life. So you can be jailed between the period of 5 years to life, 20 years, 30 years, and life. You look at that bill. It has nothing to do with terrorism. It has everything to do with what we say. Those things that used to be under seditious practices, they've been imported now under the Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation bill, which are calling for life imprisonment for anyone that offends speech against the president, against state institutions, against public institutions. The closed-circuit television public protection bill. This nondescript bill is extremely dangerous. It's calling for National Public Security Command Center and that all closed-circuit television, whether public, mobile, or private, will be controlled. The command center has been set up. You know, if you are going to the University Teaching Hospital at the corner of Nationalist Road and Independence at the traffic light, there's a brand new building there. It was built for Smart Zambia. That's where this command center, National Command Center, highly regulated, is going to be for both cyber crimes and CCTV law to regulate the country and bring it, under the purview of the state to ensure that they shrink those democratic rights. Under the Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation Amendment Bill of 2024, they're even targeting financial sanctions. So if you buy someone talk time and they go live and they say what the state thinks is terrorism, even you will be obtained. So they've expanded from the normal way we know about this law, which was supposed to tackle terrorism as envisioned, under the 9/11. There was a standard law that was passed across the world. President Hakainde Hichilema has expanded this law to include issues of speech, and that the speech offenses, you can be jailed up to your lifetime. Let me briefly read what it says in which you can go for life sentence under the Anti-terrorism and Non-proliferation Act. So if you intimidate, you intimidate the president or any public official or public entity or public institution, if you put in fear, if you force, if you coerce, or you induce a government body, government, an institution, the president, public or segments of the of public institutions, and if you influence them to abstain to any act or to adopt or abandon a particular view, particular policy, or particular issue, So if we were to force President Hakainde Hichilema now that this bill you want to enact is very bad for our country, we were calling for national-wide demonstrations, and we will call for nationwide strike. We will coordinate with labor unions, and we call for strikes. That falls under the purview of this anti-terrorism and non-proliferation. These rights are guaranteed by our Constitution, by the way. Your freedom of association, freedom of expression, freedom to organize, freedom to participate, picket, demonstrate, rally, they are provided for in the Constitution. You have a subsidiary law that is outlawing this and calling it terrorism. If you want a government department to abandon a certain issue that they're pursuing, you can be caught for terrorism and you can be sentenced to life. The penalties, like I said, begin from 20 years, 25 years, and imprisonment for life. The Cyber Crimes Bill of 2024, this we have discussed, the offenses relating to computers and computer systems. That's what this was designed for. These two laws were standard approved by the United Nations, that there's rising crime on cyberspace. There's scamming taking place, there's theft of identity, there's child online sexual offenses that are taking place. There's child abuse that is taking place using online network where they're targeting and grooming children. That was the purpose of this law, to stop the scamming, to stop the cyber crimes that are occurring on cyberspace, because this was a new space. But what President Hakainde Hichilema and other dictators are doing is now to weaponize this law, where they have brought issues of speech, like what I am doing now. They have brought them in as, they have categorized them as cyber crime. And then you can go in for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 30 years. It's no longer about the crimes that the law was intended for. It is now a law pursuing offenses of speech. The purpose of these laws, like I said, as approved by the UN and the African Union, was to prohibit unauthorized access to your computer, to your devices, and to protect your privacy. And for government that hold public information, again, it was for government to secure that. But like I said, the purpose of this is the new laws relating to speech that have been imported into this law. If you saw the video I was playing of President Hakainde Hichilema saying, social media is all we have for our democracy to breathe. That was the Cybersecurity and Cyber Crimes Act of 2021. And the PF and President Edgar Lungu were condemned by donor community, by the opposition, including President Hakainde Hichilema, for passing such a law. Now, all of us, all of you that were condemning Edgar Lungu for passing that area law, now you should look at the new law of Cyber Crimes Bill of 2024 that has criminalized literally all forms of speech that can send you up to 20, 25 years. If you talk about tribe, you are going in for 25 years. If you question the president that this is a tribal government, is appointing people from one region, you can go in for 20, 25 years because he will accuse you of promoting tribal hate, tribal talk. Even when you know the crime you are pushing against is a crime of tribalism, they are ignoring the crime of tribalism. They are going to the one exposing the tribalism to then give them 20, 30, 40 years. You should look at the case that is before our magistrates. There are 3 or 4 cases that are maturing on so-called tribal and hate speech. The case of Maureen Mavonga from Mfue, our MP, who when JJ was abducted, she was reacting to the 2 press conferences that were held in Southern Province and in Northwestern Province. The guys in Southern Province, the youths, the UPND youths, said Edgar Lungu is out of bounds. We, as Southerners, will not allow Edgar Lungu to come to Southern Province. Then the boys from Northwestern Province were saying Edgar Lungu has gone so far, we need to circumcise him. And they said, Mr. President, hand him over to us, we unlive him, that we take away his life. because imomwe wakulusaka muleyangala sana muleten kuno will circumcise him and will take away his life. At that conference, when Maureen was crying for JJ Banda, and they are very close, the young MPs in Parliament, Munia Zulu, Binwa Mpundu, Christopher Kangombe, JJ, but all, and Francis Kapianga, all the young MPs are very, very close, because they identify they are among the minority in Parliament, but they identify the progressive role they should play in that Parliament. So she was hurt and she was speaking for JJ. Then she turned to the people saying in Southern Province that Edgar Lungu, that was on a no-go area. She says, are you sure you can say that about Edgar Lungu, that this is a no-go area? What if we said the same thing about President Hakainde Hichilema, that in our area it is a no-go area? What about these that are threatening the president, that they want to circumcise and take away the life of President